So, Premier League football returns this weekend for Manchester United on match day 5 of the 24-25 Premier League season away to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park on Saturday evening. A big game, not just for Crystal Palace, but another huge game for Manchester United this weekend, with both sides really needing to pick up another 3 points. For Crystal Palace perspective, 2 points from 12 at the start of this Premier League season, where Palace currently lie 16th in the league table standings as it currently is, and Manchester United currently 9th on 6 points from 12. Both sides are desperately in need of points this weekend, and both sides basically need to win this game. I think it's a huge game for Crystal Palace. I think, this season has been a second season syndrome for their new manager. Obviously, he got them out of last season, which was a really bad rut. Crystal Palace were in a massive relegation fight last season where they brought back Roy Hodgson, expecting it to work like it did when they first appointed him as their manager. And obviously, Crystal Palace were drifting closer and closer to that dreaded dotted line. And again, Crystal Palace are now in that same position again, where I think second season syndrome is really hitting home for them this season. And I think where Palace have gone wrong at the start of this season, I think, let's be honest here, I think they're two big losses, which I think Palace have really struggled to find any decent replacements for those two big signings that have walked out of the club to bigger and better avenues. Obviously, I think the main factor is, I think Mikel Olise has been a huge miss so far for Crystal Palace. I think soon as they lost Olise, I kind of expected Crystal Palace to struggle, but not struggle as much as I thought they were going to. But I think Olise's factor is you can't really turn down a move to Bayern Munich, and they are obviously a bigger and better club than Palace, and obviously you can't really turn down Champions League football either. And I think Crystal Palace haven't really replaced him with anyone that really gets anyone off their seat, really. And I think he made that right wing his own. Like, on that right wing, he was probably Palace's best player. And again, when you lose that talent and you don't really replace it, you are really going to struggle going forward to create any significant attacking opportunities, again, on the opposition goal. And I think as soon as Olise walked out and Olise went to Bayern, Palace didn't really replace him. I mean, they got 50 million, so I don't understand where that money has gone when Palace have got quite a big fee for him. And they should have replaced him. And when you don't replace a player like that, you are really going to struggle. And I think Crystal Palace are now finding out that without Olise, they are pretty much screwed. And I think another Palace defeat this weekend, it will be 2 points from 15. It's not exactly going to keep this manager in a job very long if more results like this continue for Crystal Palace moving further and further into the new season. And I think if Palace do end up in that bottom three, which is a huge possibility this weekend with another defeat, then Crystal Palace might have to make that decision of sacking the manager. But who do they replace him with? Because every manager since then, it's not really worked, is it? And I think, if Olise was still at Palace now, I think Palace would have had a much better start to this season. But his goals are missing, the quality's missing, and Crystal Palace is struggling to create any significant attacking opportunity. And I think where Palace are reliant this season is much on Eze. Like, as it currently stands, Eze is now Palace's current best player. And again, he's very in and out their team, and he does pick up quite a few injuries here and there. And when he doesn't start, you look at that Palace team and you look at the lack of quality in it. I can see why Crystal Palace is struggling, because when you've got Eze literally is your best player going forward, the rest of the attacking options aren't exactly going to light up any Christmas trees. And that is why I think Palace this season have got found out quite quickly. And I think, a new manager coming in last season, midway through the season, was quite a big significant move to keep Crystal Palace up last season. But I think now, he's probably been worked out on his tactical approach, and he's probably been figured out on, the way Palace are trying to play under him. I think the opposition have probably figured out the way Palace are trying to attack and play the football he's trying to get out of his current Crystal Palace players. And obviously, when second season syndrome hits, you are going to get figured out. And Palace, I'm afraid, you've been figured out quite quickly this season. And a club like Crystal Palace, who have been a long-term Premier League club again, shouldn't be struggling with the quality of some of the players that they currently have. But like I said, I think Elise is a huge miss for them. And I think, going forward this weekend, where do you look at the Palace team? Again, probably Eze is their biggest threat on the Manchester United goal. And I think he could create a few problems, but I think where's the attacking option, where's the striker, and where's the right winger to be able to bring in any threat onto the Manchester United goal? I don't think there really is one. I think Palace are much now relying on Eze to do the job of not just himself, but they're also trying to get Eze to do the job of what Elise did. And obviously, Eze can't do everything for Palace. And I think that is why Eze could do with a better move in the future. And I think, like I said, when Elise got sold, I knew Palace were going to struggle because he's their best player. You take him out of that Palace team, Palace are nowhere near good enough without him. And if you don't replace him, this is the consequences. I mean, there's 50 million there. Why Palace didn't replace him with anyone significant, it does surprise me, because it means Crystal Palace are getting involved in a dreaded relegation fight again. And again, 4 games in, they're on 2 points from 12. That is shit. To be honest, that is utterly crap. If Palace fans would have expected that start of the season, I kind of wouldn't have blamed you, but I would have expected the quality Palace still currently had to be able to do a job for them going forward without Elise. But it does show Elise was a big name player in that Palace team. And now he's gone. Palace are struggling, and Palace have been figured out. And I think it can also be said of Edouard. I mean, the striker that was brought in from Celtic, was it under Vieira or was it under Roy Hodgson? When Edouard was brought into Crystal Palace, he was their big name striker. He was their big name signing to score the goals that Palace had been struggling to score. Edouard was a brilliant striker at Celtic. I mean, he'd been linked with so many big name clubs from the Premier League and across Europe. And obviously, the decision to go to Crystal Palace, I think that's probably a regretful move. But he was scoring goals for them. But obviously, he did then find himself in and out that Palace team. And I think when Mateta came along, I think it was either one or the other is going to be starting in the starting lineup. Like, you can't start both, where Palace are a traditional go with a 4-3-3 setup, and you can't really put both strikers in the same team, and you can't put either of them on the wings. So it was kind of a decision where, for Palace's point of view, we have to keep one and we have to sell the other. And obviously, I think Edouard, is he now at Leicester? Hasn't even kicked a ball for them since that deal went through. Hasn't even played for Leicester City. Maybe that is a mistake from Leicester not to use him, or was it a mistake from Palace to let him go in the first place? Because they're not scoring goals. I mean, they were lucky on Tuesday night to get through to the Carabao Cup 4th round. They only just scraped past Championship QPR. They only just scraped past them. And Palace were 1-0 up. QPR got back into the game, but Palace did then find a late win thanks to Eddie Nketiah, who, again, it's probably a big smart signing from Crystal Palace to get a quality striker like Eddie Nketiah. I mean, how they got him out of Arsenal, I mean, it's quite bewildering, really, because you don't really expect that player to make a big jump from Arsenal to a mid-table, lower league club like Crystal Palace. I mean, no disrespect. I think Eddie Nketiah could have been a bit more ambitious, but again, they have now really replaced not just Mateta, they've replaced Edouard as well. They've replaced both strikers, and I think Eddie Nketiah will get a more first-team football now. I think Mateta will be more likely an option off the bench in the second half or even in the first half if Palace do pick up any injuries. So again, it's a smart bit of business from Crystal Palace to get Nketiah, but he's going to have to start scoring you goals quite a lot. And if he doesn't find the score sheet, and that was found out in their last Premier League game, that's quite worrying because Eddie Nketiah is a good young player. But if he doesn't score you goals, you've then got a big problem going forward because if Bateta can't do it, Eddie Nketiah can't do it. You've let Edouard go to Leicester. Where's Palace's attacking options? There isn't any. There really isn't any decent attacking options going forward in that striker position for Palace because neither strikers are scoring goals in the league. And I think Crystal Palace really could have done with going at the Carabao Cup on Tuesday night because I think trying to survive in this Premier League this season alone is going to be extremely, extremely tough. I think there's worse teams in this league. No disrespect. There are worse teams in the Premier League than Crystal Palace, and we know exactly who they all are. But I still expect Crystal Palace to be fine, and I don't expect Crystal Palace to go down. But I think the more of the same results and the more of lack of attacking options or goals going forward, Palace are going to creep into that bottom three, and then they're going to get into a dogfight right at the end of the season where they need to get wins, and they're going to have to try and scrap for results. So I think Palace, this time last season, when we went to them, we got hammered 4-0. And at this point last season, we were talking that Eric Ten Hag, from Manchester United's point of view, had to be sacked. We got demolished 4-0. And that, for me, from a Man United fan, was absolutely disgusting to see the way we badly down-tooled and basically gave up soon as the fight was gone. Soon as Palace got that lead last season, we were absolutely shambolic. Like Manchester United were a joke. I couldn't believe how bad we were. And I was saying at that time last season, Eric Ten Hag has got to go. We do need to sack him because if more results like this, how can he keep himself in the job? And again, Eric Ten Hag is only here because he won the FA Cup and he got us into Europe. I don't want to go to Palace this weekend and see a repeat of last season. We cannot afford for that to happen. We need to keep winning now, and we need to keep winning, keeping up with this momentum. We've scored 10 goals in our last 2 games. No disrespect to Barnsley and no disrespect to Southampton. You're both shit. Like, you're both basically mid-table Championship and League One clubs at best under the current managers you've currently got, and your options in your teams are both shocking going forward. And defensively, it's horrific to watch both of those teams suffer because both teams have been, again, historic football clubs in the Premier League and years before any of this was to happen. I think that's down to both managers' options for Barnsley and Southampton, respectively. But again, I think, the only problem I can see United having is to deal with Eze. That's the only problem I can see us having to deal with. And obviously, Eze is a Manchester United target. Eze is a target for next summer. Manchester United are looking at Eze. And I think it's not just a stopping mission, it's also a scouting mission because I think Manchester United are going to have to keep a close eye on the Eze situation because Manchester United are looking for a winger going forward for next season. And I think Eze is the prime target we do need to get out of Crystal Palace. I think if Eze performs well against us and he puts in a good performance, then Eze has got to come to the club because Eze is a quality young upcoming player who can play for England, has been brilliant when he's been brought on in the second half of England internationals. And for Palace, going forward, he's their best option. I think if Palace then lose Eze, they're absolutely done. I think if Palace lose Eze to any big club, if they're in the Championship or even if they're in the Premier League still, Palace are going to find it difficult to even rebuild because how do you replace not just Eze, but Elise as well? They haven't replaced Elise. And if they lose Eze, who are they going to bring in to replace him? That's the only problem I can see Man United having to deal with is Eze going forward. But I think what I've seen from the last 2 United performances, we're looking more defensively solid. Yeah, we worked brilliant against Southampton in the first 35 minutes in our last Premier League outing. But I think we built on from that penalty save when Onana saved that Callum Archer penalty. And Diego Dalot gave that situation away. And you've got to be, again, thankful we picked up 3 points thanks to Onana's penalty save. So I think, we've got to be thankful we're even on 6 points. Because, again, it's not been a brilliant start for us in the Premier League this season. It's been, again, shit. 6 points from 12. It's nothing really to shout about, is it? But I think if we can get another 3 points this weekend and we can score a few more goals, then the confidence is going to keep only going up and up and up. And from a Man United perspective, if we can make it 3 wins in a row, it does show that we are making progress and we are starting to learn from our mistakes. And I think Erik ten Hag is still learning. I think Erik ten Hag is still trying to get the right balance in the team. I still think he's trying to get the best out of his best players. And obviously, maybe ten Hag's realised it. I think maybe he's realised that now that, you know what, we can't be starting Maguire. We can't be starting Mount. We can't be starting Casemiro, and we can't start starting Eriksen. I think obviously we all knew there was going to be big changes from Tuesday night when we beat Barnsley 7-0 in the Carabao Cup third round. I think everyone expected to see the amount of changes Erik ten Hag did. I didn't really necessarily thought that was necessary, but again, I think, you know, Erik ten Hag's comments, well, we've got plenty of games. We need to rotate. We need to be sharp. We need to refresh, and we need to keep up our momentum. And I think maybe that was the correct decision in the end for Erik ten Hag to change the amount of players he changed at Barnsley. Like, maybe that was the correct thing to do. But again, I think that team will be changed completely again, because I think, no disrespect to Barnsley, Crystal Palace is a different kettle of fish. Like, you've got Palace players in that team who can do a job for them. They have got a good midfield. Well, the only good midfielder Palace have really got is that Adam Wharton. Like, a guy who went to the Euros under Gareth Southgate, didn't see a fucking minute in the Euros, didn't even get used, didn't even get picked, didn't even get selected for any of England's games. He's probably, again, a big asset to Crystal Palace in their midfield. A young, upcoming, world-class midfielder who's got the ability to be one of the next best midfielders in the game, because he's quality, he's young, he's versatile, he's got the pedigree, he's got the skill, he's got the game in him to be able to make Crystal Palace's midfield even better. And I think, again, Adam Wharton is a Manchester United target, and we are looking at a younger midfielder again for next season. And I think, again, Adam Wharton, Palace are going to demand stupid money, but if they're in the Championship and they get relegated this season, they aren't going to be able to charge stupid money then. Crystal Palace are going to have to be realistic, because there's no way they're going to get 80, 90 million from him. Not a chance. They won't get 80 to 90 million. That is ludicrous if Palace think they're going to get that. But again, he's probably the Palace's best midfield spark for the weekend. Going forward and defensively, he's absolutely solid, and he does not put a foot wrong for Palace. Like, what I've seen from him, he's quality. Like, he's got the ability to be the next Paul Scholes. He's got the ability to be the next Michael Carrick. He's got that ability to be able to develop his game and go to a top club in England or even in Europe. He's only going to get bigger and better, and he's going to be a world-class midfielder. And a lot of clubs are going to come to the attention of him, and they're going to want him, and they're going to battle for a signature. So, again, I think Palace's biggest threats are Eze from the attacking option and Adam Wharton from the midfield. I think apart from that, I don't think Manchester United are going to have to deal with a lot. Like, I'm not being rude, but I'm being realistic. I look at that Palace team and where are you going to cause us problems? Because I think Erik ten Hag has realised the back four has to contain De Ligt. It has to contain Martinez. Obviously, Mazraoui, again, what a bargain he's been. I mean, 12 million from Bayern Munich has been an absolute steal. I cannot believe how we absolutely rinsed Bayern Munich for Mazraoui. He's been a massive upgrade on Delo. He's been a massive upgrade on Wan-Bissaka. And again, you always get concerned, is that new right back going to be able to do the job that you want defensively, not just going forward, but defensively as well. What I've been impressed with Mazraoui, he's not just good at attacking going forward, but defensively as well. He's absolutely solid. Like, there's always concerns from when you make new signings. Is it going to work? Is it going to gel? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be beneficial? But Mazraoui is probably one of the standout signers of the summer so far, because he's been absolutely brilliant. In every game he's played for United this season, he's been absolutely fantastic. And it's like, wow, this is really hit home that we've actually got a decent right back now that going forward is fantastic, but defensively he's doing his job as well. Like, Wan-Bissaka was good defensively, but going forward he was shocking. But we've got a right back who's doing both jobs. And again, that is a massive bonus from Manchester United's point of view. That is a massive, massive bonus how good Mazraoui's been. And defensively, he makes us more solid because he knows De Ligt, he knows Martinez. Like, he's played with all of them at Ajax. He knows Onana. He played with him at Ajax. So, again, there is that Ajax connection. But, again, you're looking at it now. When we play De Ligt and Martinez and Mazraoui, we are so solid at the back. We're so solid. And that is because they all know each other's game. They know how to bring out the best of each other. The only concern, again, for Saturday is the left back. And again, I can't believe we've not made a left back signing. I remember when Romano tweeted in the early stages of the transfer window saying, Manchester United will sign a left back. They will sign a left back. Why we've not brought a left back in absolutely still bewilders me. I can't believe people didn't want to bring Reguilon back because they didn't want to stopgap left back signing again. But again, you're having to play Delot at left back. That's the only option we've got. We've only got Delot. And again, that is a concern going ahead for the rest of the season. It is a massive, massive concern because we are going to be playing a lot of games. If you lose Delot, or if you lose Mazraoui to injury, God forbid, then where do you have the options at left back and at right back? United are going to have to go and spend some money. And they'll have to do it in January. There's a huge opportunity to bring in another right back as well as another left back. Because I think United aren't going to have the options because Luke Shaw and Malacia, as Eric Ten Hag has stated, are both still miles away from being back in first team connection. Like, they're miles away. And again, that is because they are injury prone. Like, United haven't really solved the problem to the answers they need. They should have signed a left back. So again, unfortunately, I don't want Delot at left back full time. That ain't going to work. I think he knows he's lost his right back place because Mazraoui is better than him. And I think Diego Delot has to realise that now. I've been replaced. And I thought Wan-Bissaka had been replaced. I've been replaced as well. I'm absolutely screwed here because I'm not going to see a right back performance again. Because I'm having to be played at left back because Luke Shaw and Malacia can't keep themselves fit. And again, that's not Delot's fault he's having to do that job. He is more comfortable at right back. But when he's put it at left back, it does really, really concern me defensively because when he conceded that penalty in last weekend's game, I thought to myself, this is the bloody problem. If you're going to keep playing Delot there, Eric, you are going to get figured out. And again, we expected to see Harry Amos start against Barnsley on Tuesday night. Wasn't in the squad, wasn't on the bench. Again, clearly stated, he ain't ready. He ain't ready. So United have really, really, really screwed themselves up here because if we're going to have to wait till January, then we're going to have to wait. But is there any left back we can get for free? Because I don't want this for the rest of the season. Because, like I said, we are already trying not to get injuries. Like, that's the main big factor here. Is that we don't pick up any injuries and significant ones. Because I think if we do, defensively, we are going to be at 6s and 7s again. Because, you know, the injuries were appalling last season. I could not believe how many injuries we actually had. But I wasn't surprised by it. Like, I wasn't surprised because I think it was about the amount of... But the back four suffered the most injuries I've ever seen in my lifetime. I couldn't believe how bad the injuries were in that back four last season. Again, so far, everyone is staying fit. Touch wood. Everyone is staying fit, and I want to keep it that way. We don't want to be picking up any injuries coming up to Christmas or January because we've got Europa League games to play. We're still in the Carabao Cup. The FA Cup will begin. We've got the league still. United are going to be playing a hell of a lot of football, and I just want everyone to be fit. But it just concerns me using Delot at left back for the rest of the season. It doesn't really convince me that we can be that really, really defensive, solid brick wall we want to be because I've got an unbalanced back four. And people say, well, we have got a balanced back four. Completely disagree. Because you're using Delot at left back. That is the only concern I've got in that back four at the moment, is that bloody left back position. And again, we did need to do that in the summer. Why we didn't do it it bewilders me, because I think Man United had money, but they didn't want a stopgap left back. But if you would have said to me it's Reguilon or nothing, I would have bought Sergio Reguilon back. He never put a foot wrong when he came here. He loves Manchester United and he always gave everything for the shirt. And Man United decided against it. Why they did that? Again, it absolutely bewilders me why Reguilon is not here. I really, really, really wanted Reguilon to come back. I wanted Amrabat to come back. I'm gutted neither players are here. But again, it might be something United look at next season or next summer. Like, I'm not sure what the plan is, but the main important thing is we talk about where we are this season, because it's a huge game for us. I think we will close in on top 4 if we get 3 points this weekend, which again, after the season we've had and the start we've had, 3 points from 9, that was a bad start. But I think the Southampton win, and especially the win on Tuesday night, hopefully that form will continue for the rest of the season, because again, like, I think Eric Ten Hag will probably change the team up massively for Saturday. I think De Ligt will come back in, Martinez will come back in, Delo will get back at left back, Mazraoui will come in. I think Onana, I don't know what happened to him on Tuesday night. Was he given a night off? Is there an injury there? Is there a concern for the squad that why is Onana not on the bench? I'm not really sure. I think it's just the latter, that he was given a night off and that Manchester United had 2 goalkeepers to use instead of him, especially against the League One side. I think that's the main thing. Against the League One side, I don't think you're really going to risk a lot by not playing Onana. But again, he'll probably come back in Saturday. I can't see Brandir or Tom Heaton starting ahead of him, because that might probably go wrong quite quickly. As for the midfield, I'm not saying, Eriksen did not a bad job. I mean, he scored 2 goals since August 2023 on Tuesday night, which again is a massive positive. Really, really happy for Eriksen. Again, a lot of people know I'm a big fan. I loved when we got him on a free. That was a massive, massive signing for Manchester United to get him on a free transfer. It was massive for the club. And I really, really loved when we got him. But again, I think it did show again on Tuesday that some of the passing and some of the versatility and the speed and the energy has really, really wiped out some of those United midfielders. I mean, I just don't think Eriksen's got it long term. I think Casemiro's in the same boat as well. Again, the midfield wasn't bad on Tuesday. It was just we're playing Casemiro more we're putting Casemiro more forward in the midfield than where we want to be, and we're having to play Eriksen next to him. And again, long-term longevity, I don't think that won't be the long-term plan. I think they'll try and shift Eriksen and Casemiro on next year. In 2025 or even in January, they will try and shift both midfielders if they can sign anybody. But I think it's very, very unlikely that is going to happen, because I think Eric Ten Hag will then have to say, well, I need replacements. But again, you missed out on Rabiot and he went to Marseille for a free. And again, I'm still very, very gutted and devastated that we didn't get Rabiot on a free. And there was a lot of people saying that deal was going to happen and Rabiot will become a Manchester United player. I'd love to see where those people are now, because a lot of them are on Twitter and they're blue tick people. I'd love to know what the hell happened with the Rabiot deal. I'd love to know where they are, and I want some clarification, because Rabiot would have been an upgrade on Eriksen. It would have been an upgrade on Casemiro, and he went to Marseille for free. But apparently Rabiot rejected big proposals from European clubs. I think that's bullshit. I think the clubs didn't take him realistically and didn't want him. And I think Man United are in that conversation. But again, we've got the midfield we've got now. But I think maybe what might happen at the weekend. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to, but a bit of positive news going into this weekend that Mason Mount is back in training with United today, and so is Rasmus Højlund. Again, I probably wouldn't expect both players to start or even be in connection for this weekend's game. Maybe off the bench in the second half, maybe for both players, but I don't see them in connection for this weekend. I think it's probably going to come a little bit too early for either of those players this weekend to be back in connection for starting for Manchester United. I think it's just going to be a little bit too early, but you never know. There might be a surprise team selection. They might put Rasmus Højlund back in. They might put Mason Mount back in, but I think maybe it's just going to be a step too far. But yeah, I think back onto the midfield conversation, I can't see Eric Ten Hag sticking with that same midfield from Tuesday. The only one I would keep in that midfield is Agate. and play him at CDM, because that's obviously the job he's been brought in to do. I thought Agate was magnificent on Tuesday. I thought Agate, there is something special about him. He's an absolute warrior of a midfielder. I've not seen anything like that since Paul Pogba was back. When we brought Paul Pogba back, I've never seen someone run through our midfield and further up the pitch than Paul Pogba. And I got glimpses of that from Agate. I think he's going to be a special player. He did such an excellent job on Tuesday night. I thought the way he brought that midfield out, and he brought himself out of that position when he had 3 or 4 Barnsley players around him, and then he moved further forward past him like it was not even hard to do. That is something there. A glimpse of what Agate is going to bring to this team. It's going to absolutely transform our midfield. Our midfield was here. Our midfield's going to be up here and beyond. The quality he has brought after one United appearance is absolutely phenomenal. And we saw glimpses of that last weekend against Southampton. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. The way he can just run through and pass certain players like it's not even a mission of difficulty to do. That is something I've not seen from that midfield since Paul Pogba. And again, if Agate can be that player and he makes that CDM role comfortable as anything, then United have got an absolute beast in that midfield now. I think Agate is going to be up here with us. And I think I'm really, really excited if he does start on Saturday, which I fully expect him to do. And again, he was lucky to avoid serious injury, because I think that tackle on him was a red card. I can't believe how that Barnsley player didn't even get a booking. I mean, he got away with absolute crap, basically. That was a red card. If that was at VAR, that's a sending off. And especially the amount of blood he had pouring down his leg. How the hell that's not a sending off, I will never know. But I think Agate, he's been a phenomenal signing so far. I'm impressed what I've seen. And do you know what? Bring it on for the future, because this player is something special. This player is something we've got to be really, really looking at for the rest of our years, because he's just a player. I think he's the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle. He's that main piece for that midfield that is going to be so well balanced now that he's in it. And I think Mainu will come back into that conversation Saturday, and so will Bruno. I think they will both now. And they will both start Saturday. There's no doubt both of them won't start. Bruno and Kobe Mainu will be starting on Saturday ahead of Eriksen and Casemiro, which is expected anyway. They will feel a lot more comfortable with Agate behind them now. I think it's going to be a massive sigh of relief. I think it's going to be a massive breath of fresh air, and it will be able to get Kobe Mainu and Fernandes moving further forward to support that attacking front three. Because we've not been able to see that. We've not seen that for ages. We've not seen that midfield be able to do its thing, because their games are suffering, because they know they've got Eriksen and Casemiro to deal with behind them. And that isn't benefiting either of those two players. It's not benefiting them. And I think now they see Agate and they see what he did on Tuesday, there's going to be thinking, bloody hell, about time this happened, about time that Casemiro and Eriksen were not in this team, causing us monumental problems defensively and going forward as well. And I think Agate now coming into that midfield, it will help Bruno, it will help Mainu, and it will support both of them going forward. So, I think it will bring this midfield up to a level of complete and utter perfection of standards that midfield has been lacking. And again, like I keep saying this, I think the days of Mason Mount, I think the days of Christian Eriksen, and I think the days of Casemiro are over. Although I know, Eriksen scored 2 goals on Tuesday. Casemiro did actually quite well for once. But again, it's not the long-term plan. I think United know what the midfield plan is. That is Agate, Mainu, Fernandes, Mount. And I think they'll want another 2 midfielders to support all 4 of them. We'll probably need another CDM. And we'll probably need another centre attacking midfielder. Who they're both going to be, I'm not 100% sure. But I think the midfield will be phenomenal on Saturday. I have no problems with that midfield on Saturday. I think it will be Mainu. I think it will be Fernandes. And I think it will be Agate. And that midfield, I think, will go on to dominate for us. And again, like I said, if Casemiro, Eriksen, and Mount think they're getting back at United midfield, good luck to you, because now Agate's here. He's replaced all three of you in an instant. And what I've seen from 2 games, money well spent from Manchester United to get their main midfielder that they wanted. And you've got to give credit to Ineos for making that transfer happen. But it's a shame it took too long. But again, he's here now. Agate's making an instant impact, and he's transforming the way we play in that midfield. So again, I love Agate. He's one of my favourite players, and I wish him all the best of luck in the rest of his Man United career, because he's one of my favourites now. So I think the conversation then moves on to the attack. I mean, that attack didn't do badly on Tuesday night, did it? I mean, I was quite surprised with the way Marcus Rashford performed. I thought, do you know what? The goal against Southampton really helped him get his 2 goals on Tuesday. I thought Marcus Rashford was brilliant. I think his movement on and off the ball, the way he was anticipating certain through balls or passes or crosses being played to him, his movement seemed to be back on. And I've not seen that Marcus Rashford since season 1 under Erik ten Hag. I've not seen it. Again, there's been issues on and off the pitch for Marcus Rashford in the last season or 2. But again, I think, the confidence is that he's scoring goals again, and you're seeing a happy Marcus Rashford again, because we've not seen that for a long time. And again, it's always concerned when you're playing him down the middle, because he's not really a recognised striker, is he? He's not really a recognised number 9. It's not really his most comfortable position. But again, when you've got a lack of goals from Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund is still out injured, well, he's back in training now, but he ain't going to be starting back in the Man United shirt for a few more weeks, I would at least say, or a few more games. I would say, do you know what? You might have to stick with the front 3 that you went with on Tuesday, because if that starts working, then we've then got a big problem, because where does Højlund, Zirkzee fit into this conversation? I think either of them probably might start on Saturday, and maybe we put Marcus Rashford back on the left, Garnacho on the right. Or maybe Erik ten Hag does stick with Garnacho on the left, Rashford down the middle, and brings Ahmad back in. Because apart from, Anthony got his goal on Tuesday night, the anticipation for the through ball that put Anthony through one-on-one with the Barnsley goalkeeper who's on loan from Chelsea, that was a brilliant play from Marcus Rashford, but it was also brilliant movement from Anthony, because he anticipated that through ball and pass being made to him. And then when you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper, you're going to get brought down and you're going to get rewarded the penalty. But you know what? Fair play and big cojones to Anthony to step up and take that penalty, because I did like the reaction from the fans. I did like the reaction from the supporters. I thought booing him was a lack of respect. I think it was disrespectful. I don't know why Anthony got the reception he did for taking the penalty. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. He got the penalty. He won the penalty. Let him bloody take it. And thankfully he scored. But it's the way I didn't like him stepping up for the penalty. I thought, don't do a hop, skip and a jump. I mean, we're not Bugs Bunny. I mean, we're not Tigger. Like, at least take this penalty properly and don't screw it up, because you've got this penalty here. Get yourself back on the score sheet. But then we started seeing the tricks. Then we started seeing the flicks. And some of the passes and the tricks and the flicks that he was making to certain players was actually paying off. And some of the football we were playing was fucking beautiful. Like, I've not seen this for years. Like, the football we played on Tuesday was magnificent. I was so proud of the way we were able to play some of the football that we were producing. Again, it's only Barnsley. But at the end of the day, we were tearing them apart. They could not cope with us. And again, that is another sign of massive positivity going forward for Man United. We're starting to play the football that Erik ten Hag finally wants to see. And we saw that in so many moments on Tuesday. So, again, I personally wouldn't start Anthony on Saturday. I would bring Ahmad back in. I think Amad Diallo is the long-term answer to the right wing. We thought it was Palestri. We thought it was Sancho. We thought it was Anthony. I think Anthony will probably be gone by next summer. I can't see United really wanting to keep Anthony. I think Man United will probably sell him and bring in Eze as the replacement. And then we've got Ahmad. I think Ahmad is still the direction we need to go down with. I think Ahmad has been brilliant so far for us. And again, we are giving him a brand new contract, which I think is very, very well deserved, because I think Ahmad so far in 4 Premier League games has done very, very well. And he's been able to produce the quality that right wing again has been lacking. And we've been seeing that in abundance with Ahmad's performances and the way he's been able to create problems and solutions to that right wing that we all thought was sorted when we bought Sancho. We all thought it. But again, he's a mercenary now. He's a snake. He's gone to Chelsea. And you know what? We ain't going to miss his problems, and we're not going to miss his attitude, because we've got the right players at this club now who are wanting to fight for the shirt. They're wanting to fight for the badge, and they're wanting to fight for the club on and off the pitch. Like, Amad Diallo brings out an abundance on that right wing, and every time he gets the ball, you know something special is going to happen. And I think against an aging Crystal Palace back four, he's going to cause that Palace back four major problems. And I think if he can get inside the penalty area and he can create one-on-ones with certain Palace players, those Palace players ain't never going to go on and go left, go right, or go straight in for him. Like, they're not going to be able to do, because Amad has got that skill. Amad has got that ability to make the game look so perfect. When he gets that ball, you know something's going to happen. Especially you get that ball on his left foot, you know it's going to be a screamer of goal. It's going to be something beautiful. And Amad's got that. Amad's got that, but he's not selfish either. And that's what I like about Amad. Like, again, we all knew that Amad was going to be something special, didn't we? We all knew that Amad was going to be that type of great player that this club had been desperately crying out for. And I'm thankful we've got him here, because the talent he's got is phenomenal. Like, the quality he's got is exceptional, but it's just the way he makes that right wing his own. He does it simple. He doesn't hog the ball. He's not selfish. He's able to play as a team player. You don't see him shooting from ridiculous positions, yards out. You see him making simple things make even more beautiful to watch, because he's using players around him. He's using anticipated runs that other players are making, and then Amad can slip them in. Amad's been doing that ever since he's been getting all this first-team football. He's managing to create goal-scoring opportunities for himself, but not just for himself, but also his teammates. And the way he can just get into the penalty area, like, again, it's not difficult. Like, the skill he's got and the talent he has got is phenomenal. Like, he's probably the best winger at this club, and that is a big statement from me. But, I mean, Garnacho's in that conversation. I think, for me, United have got two of the best young wingers in the world. In my view, I think we've got two of the best young wingers in the world of European football, young wingers, because Garnacho is still developing and learning, and so is Amad Diallo. But both of them are the long-term answer, because, you know, Rashford won't be here forever. And again, I'm hoping he carries on this goal-scoring form. Of course I do. But if he drops off again and starts doing stupid things on and off the pitch and his performances start lacking, he will be out that team. He will be out that team. He will be gone. Finito. Finished. Done. But again, I want that Amad and Garnacho connection. I want them both starting long-term for Man United, because they have got the quality that this team is crying out for. And you give them a moment on the pitch and they will do something special. And what I've seen from Garnacho so far this season, he's a completely different player. And it's the same for Amad. If it was me, I would be dropping Rashford and starting Xerxes down the middle and Garnacho on the left, Amad on the right. But I think Ten Hag might stick with Garnacho on the left, Rashford on the right, and Garnacho on the left, Rashford down the middle, and Amad on the right. That is my gut feeling what's going to happen. That is what I possibly think might happen on Saturday. He carries on playing Rashford down the middle and Xerxes on the bench again, and Garnacho on the left, and bring Amad in for Anthony. That front three isn't too bad. Again, it's probably not the long-term vision and the long-term plan that Manchester United are looking for. But again, if you go with a younger front three, you are going to score a lot of goals, because against an aging back four from the opposition, who have got players that are getting to their time now, that their careers are ending, they ain't going to be able to cope. They ain't going to be able to cope. And I think United will cause Palace quite a few problems this weekend. And I'm confident for the 3 points. I'm confident we'll get the win. And I'm very confident that we will get another fantastic result. And again, the more wins we get, the more and more Man United are going to get better and better and better, because the consistency will keep going up and up and up. And the more goals we score and the more phenomenal performances we put in, Man United will be on another level. And then our rivals are going to then start bricking it, because thinking, bloody hell, this is a different Man United again. And I think maybe Eric Ten Hag maybe was the right decision after all to keep him, because the football has looked fantastic in the last 2 games, and we've been the best team and we've dominated both games, not just in the first half but second half as well. So I picked my team. Scoreline I'm going to go 3 or 4-0 because I think Palace are just too vulnerable defensively, and attacking options, they don't really have any except Eze and Nketiah. So let's see what happens on Saturday afternoon. So I hope you enjoyed this live look ahead. Please hit the like button and the share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to always remember the notification bell. Put the bell on at all times so you receive dedicated and upcoming content right throughout the rest of 2024. We've got brand new videos, brand new shorts, and brand new live streams planned for all of you amazing people right throughout the rest of this year in 2024. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, and hit the retweet button. Remember to put that notification bell on all times so you receive all this content we have planned, all the brand new stuff we've got organised and planned also as well. And obviously, please join me for the full-time whistle and for the full-time reaction from Selhurst Park on Saturday evening. Can you make it, Man United make it 3 wins from 3, or will we see a repeat of last season's demolition of Crystal Palace? I think it'll be the latter. I think Man United this time will be going there and demolishing them. But let's see what happens on Saturday evening. Enjoy your week. Stay safe. Be nice and be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legendary. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.